Hello everybody! Today we're going to be talking about common mistakes made at each step of the ranked ladder. We're going to start at bronze and go all the way up to celestial and talk about common mistakes. So, if a little bit of info about me, I'm Covenant 307. These are my stats. My peak is celestial 1. I've been coaching for a couple months now. I've done over almost 300 VOD reviews now. I do guess the rank. I do Am I the Problem? I've coached everybody from bronze all the way up to one above all. And yeah, so we're gonna start with bronze, and I have some VODs picked out to really illustrate the situations. Now, this is a low silver game with 1 bronze in it, but it really illustrates exactly the point that I'm trying to make, which is in bronze, the first mistake is not knowing your abilities and exactly what they do. So we're gonna watch this Strange, and we're gonna see that if he knew how his abilities worked, he wouldn't choose them in the wrong situation, and he would actually live this scenario, right? So he's playing decent. We're just getting some little spam damage. We're playing in a good spot. We back up against Emma, right? And then here we're going to start making a little bit of a mistake. I'm not understanding it. We're going to pull up our shield here, and then we're going to jump. And this jump is definitely going to get him killed. If he understands, like, exactly what your abilities do and, like, when to use them, he would have just backed up and then used jump later, because this actually just cuts him off from his team, and it's not really what you want to do. So this goes for pretty much every character. Know exactly what your abilities do. If you're still new at this game, bronze, silver, gold, I'd recommend picking a character you enjoy, and then just going one at a time through each one of these, and you play, like, 2 or 3 quick play games while you only pay attention to that ability. Now, like, use the other abilities, obviously, but pick one ability and stick with it, and ask yourself, how do I get the most value out of this ability, right? And experiment with it, right? So, like, play in different scenarios, swap it out. Like, if you're healing on Cloak, for example, if I use my bubble on a character to try to heal them, but then they run away, okay, that was not a good time to use my bubble because of this, so I didn't get much value. And then you work on each ability individually as you work your way up. Don't forget to include your ultimates in this. Don't forget to include your primary and secondary fires. A lot of people just think like, oh, you know, automatically this is what it is. But with a character like White Fox, your primary fire, you can lose a lot of value on if you use it the way you would use Cloak primary fire, right? So you're bouncing it off the ground, you lose a lot of value. So keep that in mind. That's the tip for bronze. Let's move on to silver. So for silver, the mistake that I see very commonly that I want to talk about is actually just simple positioning problems and using cover. So for here, we've picked this out. This is a true silver game. And it's right here at the beginning. We're going to watch what happens here as green team is in bad positions, okay? So right here, we're a little bit too far out, and that's going to force our supports to move up. And since our supports move up, they're no longer going to be in good positions where they have cover. And you're going to watch exactly what happens. We push up, and then we stand right in the open instead of by cover, right? Because if we stand by cover, if we're taking damage, we stop taking damage, right? If we stand by this cover, we're taking damage, we move to the side, we're not taking damage anymore, right? But instead, we're out in the open, we're not realizing what's going on, and then we even scoot farther out into the open. Moon Knight throws his onk, everybody's grouped up, and now we're down 2, and almost 3, right? So, of course, green team's going to lose this point now, because here they go. There it is. That's all it takes. So this mistake actually goes so far if you correct it. If you learn to start standing by cover in a proper position where you can see your team still, that just helps so much. Like, you're going to take less damage. You're going to be way more effective when you're healing. This goes for tanks, for DPS, and for supports. It also changes on the map and your team comp and things like that. So let's take a quick example. If we back up to here, and we look, right? So this is good positioning, right? They're decently, this is a little bad. I would prefer here so you can get to cover quickly. But let's just say White Fox was standing over here. You say, hey, this is good, right? I'm under cover, right? They can't shoot me here. Well, yes, that's true, but you also can't react to the enemy team. So being able to see everybody in your field of view that includes your team and the enemy team, that's going to be good position where you also have cover and you can retreat. The other bad part about right here is not only can I not see my Strange, and if anybody pushes up or let's say gets hooked by a Bucky or grabbed by Emma, in order to heal them, I have to walk forward and turn the corner or use an ability, which is not what you want. And the last thing is, if I'm standing here, there's a flank route, right? The enemy team can literally just walk through this way and attack my backside for free. Whereas over here, if they walk that way, I still have cover. I can walk this way. I can walk this way. I can move around, right? If I'm over here and they walk that way, I can walk around this way. And now I still have access to my team. So take all those things into consideration. Watch where you're positioning yourself. Use cover really well. And that's going to help you get out of silver. So next for gold, I actually have a Plat game that illustrates this point really well. But we're going to look at why staggers happen and how to prevent them. This happens throughout almost all the ranks, but it really starts holding people back in gold. Let's bring up that. So here, we're going to watch as red team actually makes a positioning error to start with. So our raccoon is off to the side, right? So if where he's looking, he doesn't have cover, he can be attacked from the flank. And if his team gets pushed back this way, he can't heal them. Or if they get pushed forward, he can't heal them. So over here, we're already starting with bad positioning was a gold mistake. And then later, you're going to see they get a pick. Green team is going to get a pick here. And what's going to happen is this is just going to spiral out of control because of why staggers happen, right? So now Magneto's dead. And a lot of people think that staggers happen because somebody's not really paying attention and they just like walk in, right? They walk in 1v6, which is true, that can cause staggers, but that's not normally what happens. Normally what happens is one team will have a disadvantage. They'll be down one person, they'll be down two people, or the enemy team will have like a support hold or something, and they will try to win the fight anyway, even though this fight is like completely lost. So right here, Magneto's dead. I think he's probably going to get rezzed. By the time he gets rezzed, now we're down to support. And for the rest of the entire defense, the whole round, red team is going to continue to try to fight a lost fight instead of getting out and cutting their losses, right? So we hold on, we're still healing, we're still holding on, we're using as many abilities as possible. So what did this do? Not only did everybody die anyway, and we lost the point, but instead of either, usually the call that people call out on comms is die or get out, right? So if you die immediately, then you respawn with your team, or if you get out, you regroup with your team. Scarlet Witch tried to stay alive, and now her team is starting to respawn, right? The people who died first are respawn. Rocket can get out. These people are close, but now she's 10 seconds behind everybody else, right? And so that is going to bleed into the next fight, where we're going to watch as they start another fight down one. And it just keeps happening. So here, Black Cat already goes in, wastes a bubble. Black Cat's going to make a mistake. They're going to get picked early. Let's jump ahead to that. And the same thing is going to happen, right? Black Cat makes a mistake. Dies. Now we're going to fight 5v6. We have bad positioning. We're trying to fight right outside of the spawn. And it's just going to happen again, right? Now we should cut our losses here. If you're red team, you use your abilities to either die or get out, right? I'm going to get out. I'm going to pull back all the way over to here. By the time I get back to here, the Black Cat should be back and we can fight again as 6. But instead, we're going to stay out in the open. We're going to try to fight the fight that's lost because it's 5v6. We're eventually going to slow down. Now Magneto's dead. Black Cat just respawned. Magneto's going to get rezzed. By the time Magneto gets rezzed, I believe Strange or Wanda is going to die. Down goes Strange. Magneto's back. Black Cat's almost back. By the time Black Cat gets back, we're going to be down another person. There goes Magneto. Black Cat's now back. And again, instead of just saying, this fight is over, right? Die, get out. Go to the next spot. What you want to do in this situation, Black Cat switch to Hela. Just stand here. Stand here. Let your team die and stand here. Don't get any damage. If you start doing damage, they're going to come chase you down. Just chill here, right? Fully regroup. So again, like, we can watch this whole point because they just make the same mistake over and over. Cut your losses. Let that fight go. Don't sacrifice your next fight to try to win an unwinnable fight. So next up, we have Plat. For Plat, the mistake that I commonly see here is not understanding advantage states. This kind of goes hand in hand with the first one, with it, which is staggering. But here I want to add more to it. We're going to add a little bit more complexity. So we just talked about, for the gold mistake and staggering, we only talked about being up like one person, right? But that's not the only thing going on, right? So right here, if we look at who has advantage, green team has a very solid advantage, right? They have good control of the point. They have good control of the choke. They have Penny set up. Everything's fine. Red team doesn't really have much advantage. As we watch this fight, though, that's going to change. Red team is now choosing an alternative route, and they're going to close the distance, okay? Green team doesn't notice, right? Now they close the distance. They have no idea what's going on. Gambit's going to panic, and he's going to try to run, but he doesn't really realize that he's running away from safety with his team straight towards the enemy team, okay? He's going to back out, and he gets killed, right? So in the last example we had, we realized, like, oh, green team is down. Just die or get out, right? And you don't necessarily have to do this if one person dies, but that's the most common example. So the mistake here is actually going to be on red team. Red team doesn't realize that they have a huge advantage. A huge advantage. Gambit's dead, and they now have a positional advantage. So what red team is about to do is they're going to not realize they have an advantage, and they're going to waste a support ult and a DPS ult. Green team is going to properly realize they're at a disadvantage, and they're going to pull back. They're going to say, they're using support ults. We're down to support. Just back up, wait it out. And so that's exactly what happens. Dino is a great ult for waiting things out. He's going to keep himself alive. He's going to stay on point. You're going to see in a second. Now the cloak ult is over. Now green team is going to attack. Cloak ult's over. We can attack. We can force out the enemy cloak ult here. Maybe even get a pick. Now here comes the Gambit ult. And guess what? Gambit's almost back. We've almost secured this whole point. Now Penny is ulting. Now our cloak ult comes. So green team took a disadvantaged state, waited it out, and then re-attacked. And if red team had realized they had a huge advantage and didn't waste this cloak ult, now they could match the cloak ult here and counteract these two ults. But since they didn't realize they had that advantage, they're actually going to lose this fight. Yes, Penny has a useless ult. Actually useless. So, now we're going to see red team waste all their advantage. Once again, Thing doesn't realize that their advantage is now gone. They have no support ults, and they lost positional advantage. Waste an ult anyway on a lost fight. Same thing with Scarlet Witch. Now we're not going to have it for the next fight. It's not going to win this. Green team cleans up. That's that, right? Cloak. Gambit tries to get out. Maybe he'll make it, but either way, green team does a great job of recognizing we're at a disadvantage, back out, let it go, wait until we have advantage again. So that's a common mistake for Plat. Let's move on to Diamond. Diamond, the mistake we have picked out is... Write it down. Is consistency. So this is where it gets a little more amorphous, right? Consistency you really want to start polishing everything and cutting out mistakes. So we're going to watch our Dino on attack. Dino's playing really well, okay? They see the advantage states. They're pushing forward. They're making good plays. We're going to see them get a couple kidnaps right here. Kill the Dino. Now we're going to push. We're going to press our advantage. We have a huge advantage. Now our advantage is less because we're paying attention up here. We're down a DPS, and their Dino got rezzed. So we're not going to push too far, but we're going to keep some pressure, look for some more good plays. Here we have a micro mistake of walking backwards, but we still get the kill, right? Huge advantage. We lose a support, so we back up. Playing really well. Now we kill a DPS. Here, another small mistake that we can iron out is not wasting time, right? We're also going to jump down here in a second instead of pressing our advantage when we need to. So because we make this little mistake, this polish, now we have to waste an ability to get back up to where we should have been anyway. And now we're going to chase down the Emma, right? We get the kill on the Emma. Great. Stop here, right? Polish up your abilities. Realize you don't have your movement ability anymore. You don't have your damage ability anymore. And recognize that Rocket actually kind of demolishes Dino. If Dino doesn't have his abilities and he doesn't have support, this is terrifying. Rocket does so much damage, right? So we try to fight here. We don't realize what's going on, and we die. So when you're playing Diamond, in Diamond, you really need to polish everything together. Cut out the mistakes. Don't press your advantage when you don't have it. Don't go too far. Don't overextend. But also, don't go too passive, right? We made the mistake earlier of playing too passive, dropping back down, and then wasting our abilities. So that's the mistake for Diamond. Polish out your game in all its entirety. For the next one, and for all of these here on out, they kind of bleed into each other. So that was the mistake for like all of Diamond and kind of like low GM combined. So now we're going to split it into, this is now going to be low GM, high Diamond. So this is going to be low GM, right? So this, let's see. Let's jump forward and let me bring up. Yeah. So in low GM, one of the common mistakes that we need to fix, and I'm going to show you an example of it actually working well, is identifying the problem and attacking it, right? So this is like adjusting, understanding what's going on. So right here, we're attacking and we're trying to deal with the tanks, right? We're forcing the Thor out, we're forcing the Hulk out. And when we do that, as we're doing that, Iron Man just kind of shreds our whole backline. We're already down one. Iron Man gets another kill and another kill. He just kills everybody. So here it's like, all right, you know, we're not in Diamond anymore. We're going to back out. We're going to realize this is a lost fight. We're going to jump in just for a second because we're Hulk. Jump back out. We're still regrouping, right? Now we're going to adjust strategy. We push the tanks back. Now let's go for the flyers. We're going to start identifying like what's going on. Now we push the flyers, right? And Iron Man is now going to be forced on us. If Iron Man's forced on us, he's not dealing with our team. And as our team is now free, they actually get 2 picks, okay? And we don't push too far. We back up, and there we go. We identify what is the problem. Now, this is a very quick example. But this could be any range of things, right? This could be realizing that, like, there's a BP in our backline. Maybe I should deal with that. You don't have to automatically switch to Thing, but, you know, adjust your play style. See what's going on. See why your team isn't winning and adjust. Now, that also goes into high GM. High GM, we're also going to throw in win conditions, okay? So, if your win condition is killing a specific support on the enemy team and adjusting, that is going to go a long, long way. So, right here, we're actually going to watch the Luna on green team. We're going to watch them absolutely demolish the enemy team, okay? She's playing safe. She has her snowflake. She's checking front to back. BP dives, gets frozen, and gets killed handily, right? Now Spidey is trying to dive our Punisher here, and our Luna does a great job of pushing him off, healing the Punisher, getting out. Now Venom comes in. Not that big of a deal. Venom's a tickle monster, and then we get out. So red team now needs to adjust their playstyle and realize, like, this Luna is a problem. It's not going to work if we do this. So now here comes Spidey, one-on-one, tries to get a pick, gets frozen, gets killed. This Luna's a problem. So now we're going to target this. Now red team is going to be like, all right, guys, this ain't working. Let's figure something out. And we're going to see. They come up with a plan. We're going to push our team back. BP, not on board. Be about here, I think. When does this happen? Right here. This is where we get on board. Now we adjust, right? This is really what separates people who can stay in GM from people who float out. Is let's come up with a plan, let's adjust, and let's figure out our win condition right here. Now the Venom's going to communicate. Here we are. Both Venom and Spidey team up, and they do it at the proper time. We wait till our team is engaged. The Luna is kind of distracted. She's off on our team, and her team can't peel for her instantly. Now we calm, we group, and then boom, both Spidey and Venom jump on them together, get the kill. Now we join in with the team and push together, right? It's these simple things that like really make a huge difference in staying in GM and getting to high GM versus just floating between Diamond GM border. Okay. Now let's jump over to Celestial. Celestial, this is where, and this is going to be a GM game because it was easier to find, I believe. This is where, if you want to get to Celestial and like really make the push, a couple things need to happen. First, you need to really hammer down on those win conditions and start making plays. So right here, we're going to see our team make a really good play. I think it's 4 minutes in. Right here. It's kind of a fight where we don't know exactly what's going on. It's a little bit split, but our Moon Knight is going to come with our Groot duo, and we're going to use a bunch of abilities on attack to secure the point. And the Phoenix is going to jump in as well, right? So we're just going to see the payload is close to capping, so we don't mind using a lot of ults, and we're going to calm, and we're going to kill things through their support ults, okay? This is like just the classic example. Groot sees, here we have, there's 2 supports. Boom, they ult. We ult it together. Phoenix comes in and ults, and there it is. The other thing I want to add into this, in Celestial, is the thing that really separates Celestial from like One Above All is just how fast things react, right? So, if you've heard Flats talk, he talks about this a lot, but like the same things happen in like low elo as they do in high. They just happen a lot faster in high elo. So for high elo, the difference between like a Celestial and like an Eternity One Above All is really just the speed at which things happen. I have a good VOD to show this, but you'll be watching like a tank or like a Magneto or somebody like this, and they will be walking forward because they have an advantage, and the second the situation changes, right, there's a positional change. Somebody is now on the flank and they're uncontested and they have really good pressure. The second that happens, back up, right? The second we have an advantage, boom, press the advantage and take it all the way. And everybody does that as a team. That's the thing that really separates like Celestial from Eternity and One Above All. Is like recognizing that advantage and pushing it and not being wrong on that advantage. So those are general tips from anything from bronze all the way to GM. Now, I also wanted to throw in here just some general bad habits that happen at any elo. At any elo, all egos, the big problem is ego. Like, it's okay to lose a fight. Don't go sit and spawn after you lose 2 fights, okay? Don't assume that everybody else is the problem. Assume that you are the problem, that And what that does is that puts the game back in your hands, right? If you get rid of the ego and you say, man, I didn't play well, let me adjust my play style. That didn't work, let me adjust my character. That didn't work, let me adjust my positioning, right? If you are self-critical and you adjust, you take the game into your hands, that's going to help you so much more. So that's a common mistake you literally see. I've seen bronze players with egos, I've seen diamond players with egos, and I've seen celestial players with egos, and it's never good. Don't have an ego. The next thing is staying on cart. This happens in every elo. Don't fight on cart if you don't have to. So a common example here, since we're here, is what'll happen is the attacking team will win a fight in this area, okay? They'll win a fight here. And what you should do is, if you win a fight in this area, let me just jump over here so there's nobody there. So you win a fight here, you do not put 3 people on cart. Okay, pretty much every map in the game, you're going to want to maybe leave 1 person on cart, ideally like a DPS or a long range support. And you're going to have your tanks and your DPS. They're going to push all the way up to a very advantageous position. Okay, and I'm going to say it like that specifically because we don't want to push into spawn. We don't want to push forever. We just want to push to an advantageous position where we have cover and we can put the enemy team into a chokehold, right? So coming out of this spot right here is very difficult for the defending team. So if you have your team set up here in a good position where they have cover and they can retreat, sometimes here if they're a mobile DPS, sometimes here on high ground, sometimes here. You're not pushing into their spawn, right? And you have everybody here helping. And then if they push out of here, now you just back up to the cart, okay? So don't stay on cart. I have a full video about this showing all the examples. The next thing, pushing too far, that goes hand in hand, right? We're not pushing all the way past this point because once we get back in here, we can't actually hold this door, right? We can't hold this. We're going to get attacked from 2 angles, and we're going to cut ourselves off from our healing. There's no way a healer can survive in here anyway, so this is pushing too far. The next thing is not portaling. If you died first point, or let's say you died here, right? You died here, and you are a support player, you're the first to die, and it's overtime, and the cart is in exactly this position, you need to portal. I don't care if you're support. I don't care if you're a DPS. I don't care if you're a tank who doesn't play strange. You need a portal. And when you portal, you need to calm, I'm portaling, somebody else go support, right? That can save so many games. Like, the amount of games it can save. And while we're on the topic, the next thing I want to talk about is bad portals. A lot of people will portal and they'll come up here and they'll put a portal like this. The portal will be looking down at point. What does this look like from the enemy team? Let's just say red team is here and they portal. It's just like a gift. A bunch of like just free supports floating down right into the sharks. Like, don't do this. When you're gonna portal, the couple things to keep in mind. Do you need to touch point immediately, right? If you have no time, just get it there as fast as possible. If you do have time, you need to set up this portal to where the whole enemy team doesn't see directly into your spawn. You want to set it to where you can use the portal as a wall to protect your team. And the most important thing is you give your team safe area to walk into, okay? So let's say red team is defending this and green team is trying to portal here. A decent portal would be right here, right? You cut off, you literally build a wall right here. It cuts off this team. Your team can walk out and start taking advantageous positions here. Another portal is on high ground. If you're going to do high ground, don't put it right here, and then you're going to have the same situation where your team is just going to walk off a cliff into the enemy team, and it's going to cause chaos. Do it back here on the safety. Now your team can walk out safely, take high ground, take advantageous positions. The tanks can drop down and contest point if they need to, and it's going to work a lot better. The last common mistake I see at all elos is bad comms. So a lot of the times people say like, bro, get off that character. This isn't working. So, no, you want to be very specific. Hey, Spider-Man is diving the backline. And then sometimes the answer to that is, hey, the supports are isolating yourself. So if you're going to calm that, and let's say you're playing Thing and you're trying to peel for an invisible woman, but she keeps running away, just be like, hey, I want to protect you. Come stand near me and I'll peel for you, right? Those are good comms. Keep it positive. Keep it short. Keep it specific, right? Another good comm would be something like, Spider-Man has ult. Invisible Woman, no jump, right? White Fox, no TP. Those are great comms. They're short. They give information. They don't tell your teammates what to do. It's just information, and they can use it or they can disregard it, right? So those are general tips for all elos, and some tips per elo to help you push through the ranked ladder. So anyway, that's it for this YouTube video. I hope it helps. Leave a comment for anything I'm sure I missed. There's tons of helpful tips for each one. Take care. God bless. Catch you guys next time. Bye.